क्या सिल्वर एंड गोल्ड का यूफोरिया फाइनली ओवर है? हेलो, आई एम निखिल एंड यू आर वाचिंग द वीकली रिव्यू ऑन कमोडिटीज विद ग्रो। इस वीडियो में हम देखेंगे क्या हुआ सिल्वर एंड गोल्ड के प्राइसेस पे और हाउ द वॉलेटिलिटी हैज ड्रॉप्ड डाउन फ्रॉम द कमिंग वीक्स। विल इट बी द राइट टाइम टू इन्वेस्ट और ट्रेड? Should you be trading futures or should you be trading options? All these questions we're gonna see while looking at price levels in this review. We'll also be looking at how the prices of gold and silver has performed comparative to indexes like Nifty this year. So let's get straight forward to it and look at silver first. So on Thursday हमने देखा कि silver के prices ने another 11% का fall दिया within a matter of 3 hours. This fall was not just limited to silver but across all asset class in the world. We saw S&P, Nasdaq, GIFT Nifty, everything fall drastically during those moments. For context, that 11% drop on silver eroded $5 trillion on that asset class. That's more than the GDP of the country. Before that move, we were seeing silver ka volatility was dropping hour by hour. It had come down from 150 levels to 80 ka levels, but that 3-hour move rose it back to 100 levels. People who were trading breakouts and breakdowns were getting false signals everywhere, and people who were trading momentum were getting flipped hour by hour as the traders were getting trapped. So anybody who was trading leverage had to panic close their moves. A 4x leverage on silver would mean that 10% drop could hit you by 40%. That's why the leverage on MCX right now at 70 makes a lot of sense to safeguard not just the traders but the brokers and other participants as well. We also saw some major news and numbers flowing around last week. Bloomberg reported that Russia might go back to US dollar for trade. That actually hurted the long premise of silver, gold and other precious metals. That news was later disregarded by the Russian side as false, but the damage had already been done. So let's now look at the chart of silver to see what's going on. Silver ने 420 का टॉप बनाया था and 225,000 का लो. We have seen the price rotate between 290 ka level that we talked about and the lows for the coming weeks. We also saw this 290 ka local high change to actually now being 270. So for now we'll look at this 270 ka price level for as local high and would look for breakouts and breakdowns from this level rather than 290 ka levels. On the chart we could see the 11% drop on the silver that happened on Thursday. Post that we have recovered a part of it, but we are still consolidating within the range of 270 and 225. Major trend players should notice these two levels to actually trade. Trading within this level could lead to a lot of chopping movements where you could get stopped out based on moves. Traders trading breakouts and breakdowns should look at these two levels for confirmation. A strong candle move from these levels could actually give you some trade confirmations. My fellow price action traders would also be noticing this wedge that silver is trading currently at, that the price is consolidating as we move. So expecting volatility when we cross this wedge levels. For price action traders, they could also get trade confirmations depending on if it goes up or down of these wedge. Even after all this movement, अगर हम daily chart पे जाए तो we can see that the price of silver is still trading above what it closed last year at. Last year it closed somewhere around 225 and it's still trading above that price. That makes this 225 ka levels very important to hold because that would mean that we are now trading lower than the start of the year. For investors, if you forget what happened in Jan, you are still up drastically year on year and there's no need to panic yet. Let's now go and look at the silver IVs and see कि street कितना move expect कर रहा है. Silver is currently trading at 250,000 and 85 का IV. 85 IV means that it is expecting somewhere around 6% का daily move. So based on that, what you're looking forward to is a 6% candle on the daily to trade momentum. Last week we saw silver trading around similar levels on IV. It had gone up to 100 when the circuits happened on Thursday, but post that it has reverted back to 85. I am expecting these IVs to keep falling for some time before we see a drastic move that rises it again for some period. Till we do not get the breakouts and breakdowns from the price levels that we talked about, I do not see this IV increasing drastically higher. So option traders who are trading options should be looking at that as well. A large problem on the MCX that most options traders on silver and gold are seeing are the circuits on options itself. Whenever there is a drastic move in the price of silver, the options usually hit circuits and it's really hard to exit or enter any other positions. So keep that in mind while trading options on MCX right now, that even if you get it right, you might actually not be able to exit or enter your positions properly. Let's move to gold now. Gold we saw made a high of somewhere around 182 at the end of last month and a low of somewhere around 135. We have been trading between this range. The volatility of gold has also dropped considerably compared to what it was in Jan. We saw the same panic move that we saw across all assets on Thursday. Gold also dropped 5 odd % on Thursday. Since then it has recovered most of that drop. We are still trading on that important level of 160 that we talked about. Compared to silver, we do see some strength in gold. It is drastically up from what the lows it made in Jan, and it looks like it wants to go higher. We will be eyeing this 160 price ka breakout. If this price breakout, we probably would want to pay more attention to gold on the long side than silver. Now, since we have talked how gold is actually looking stronger than silver, let's go look at gold to silver ka ratio for once. So from the gold to silver ka chart, we can see that gold has been outperforming silver. It is still far away from its historical average of 85 and the lows that it made on 44. So to actually decide which asset to trade and which direction, you can actually look at gold to silver ka ratio and make that decision. We also saw कि काफी सारा panic set off हो रहा है on gold and silver. Investors are panicking because of the drop on the prices that we saw in Jan. But अब अगर थोड़ा सा longer time frame में जाके देखें तो silver and gold has outperformed all asset class even after that drop we saw in Jan. So let's look at how silver performed against Nifty last year from the start of Jan 2025. In this chart, the blue line marks the silver and the yellow Nifty. We see that if you had invested 100 rupees in silver at the start of 2025, you would have been up 180% since then. But if you invested the same amount of money, you would have been up 8%. So हम अगर थोड़ा सा recency bias को साइड रख के सिल्वर का परफॉर्मेंस ओवर द लास्ट ईयर देखें तो there is not much need to be panicked if you had not invested in Jan around the top, if you had not invested around these higher levels on Jan. ये सही है कि आप काफी सारा फ्लक्चुएशंस अपने अकाउंट पे देख रहे हो, बट दीज आर नॉट द नॉर्मल टाइम्स वी लिव इन. जो गेन हमने सिल्वर एंड गोल्ड में देखा है वो बहुत ड्रास्टिक है and the account value swings have been large, but that's the pain every trader and investor has to handle when an asset starts going parabolic in nature. Most of the returns in life comes from riding these bull markets well. We saw that in COVID as well. Now we are seeing that in gold and silver. So for invested, I do not see any reason to panic if you had invested into gold and silver a few years back. For people who had invested into gold and silver in Jan months, you have to manage your risks well, and there have to be some point where you be like, oh, I need to reduce my size on this. Also, an interesting fact that happened this month was that the inflows of money in gold and silver ETFs actually crossed the inflow of money in equity markets. Gold and silver ETFs saw 33,000 crores of inflow, while equity markets saw 24,000 crores of inflow. This actually shows that a lot of interest actually went into precious metal, gold and silver compared to equity markets in Jan. So हमने देखा है कि काफ़ी सारी volatility on silver and gold has dropped compared to क्या Jan में थी, but there are still one-off 10% moves that we see every time the street panics on some macro news that happens. For traders, it becomes good scalping opportunity where they could actually scalp some trends on smaller time frame. But थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखें on circuits on MCX. Prices could actually hit circuits very fast and you might not be able to exit or enter your positions accordingly. For investors and traders trading on higher time frame, dailies and weeklies, look for those two levels that we talked about and price moving away from those two levels with a bigger candle than what the IVs are saying, and then take that move as a trade confirmation to set up new trades. सो दैट्स इट फ्रॉम माई साइड ऑन दिस वीकली रिव्यू. अगर आप अपनी पोजिशंस कैरी कर रहे हैं ओवरनाइट, आई वुड सजेस्ट यू टू मैनेज योर रिस्क वेल एंड साइज अकॉर्डिंगली. आई विल सी यू ऑन द midweek price updates. Goodbye.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.